Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on February the 12th, 2020. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So in terms of the news here, we did have multiple central banks today. In terms of Fed here, there wasn't anything new. So right now, they are not expecting too much downturn or big economic impact from the coronavirus. So right now, the interest will be held steady, and that was the message from the Fed. And as a result of that, like prior to Powell's testimony, equity markets were going up, but after the testimony, they did drop because he didn't actually come and say that there would be interest rate cuts or potential for interest rate cuts. So that's why we saw the equity markets drop a bit after he testified here. And then nothing new here from Bank of England, Governor Carney, or ECB. And then we had New Zealand official cash rate here, monetary policy statement. The press conference is coming up here in just a bit. But in terms of the monetary policy, Reserve Bank of New Zealand has kept the interest rate the same, which was expected. And now this monetary policy statement is seen as bullish here or positive, and that's why we have seen New Zealand dollar go up because at this point, Reserve Bank of New Zealand is saying that they are expecting slight downturn in the economy because of the coronavirus impacting Chinese economy, but they expect this to be short-lived. And at this point, they're not making any adjustments in the monetary policy, so they're going to wait and see how things go before they take any action. So they don't seem too concerned about it. As a result of that, we have seen New Zealand dollar go up. So coming up here on Wednesday here, we have Fed Chair Powell testifying once again. We have tons of FOMC members speaking. We had them today and tomorrow. We have more. And then we have Reserve Bank of New Zealand, Governor Orr speaking tomorrow, as well as Reserve Bank of Australia, Governor Lau speaking. And then we have Bank of Canada, Governor Pola speaking. So all the commodity currencies, central bankers will be speaking tomorrow. So we do need to keep an eye on these because commodity currencies have been impacted the most because of the Chinese economy or due to the coronavirus. So any comments that express concern to the economic well-being of these countries will have a negative impact on these currencies. But right now, as we saw from Reserve Bank of New Zealand, they're not too concerned about it. And Fed basically said the same thing. They said they do expect an impact in the short term, but not so much in the long term. So if this is the same commentary that we hear tomorrow as well, then we won't expect a big change in the way things are. So that may be positive for these currencies. So let's go on to our charts now. We'll start off with euro dollar here. For the euro, we saw that price dropped, but then it got pushed back up. So at this point here, it's still into our support resistance here. So it's at an important level now. We did see this rejection, which means it could go higher. So what we need to see is the price able to break the high? If it does, then I will look for a further move to the upside. So right now, I am neutral on this. We do see a rejection, but if price stays below 1.0920, chances are it can drop again towards the support at 1.0880. But should it go through the high of today, I'm looking at 1.0950 and then potentially higher into 1.0980. So right now, bias for euro dollar is neutral. Pound dollar here, this one we do have a bullish candle close here. Price is into resistance, so that's something to keep in mind. If it doesn't go through, it can drop, but it is looking bullish at the moment. So the next target here is 1.3070. So bias is bullish for pound dollar. But again, just be cautious. If it doesn't hold above 1.2950, it's right into that resistance. Potentially even higher into 1.2980. If it holds below, then this can drop and go back down, because this is an important support resistance level. However, it is looking bullish and it could go through. And next target is 1.3070. So bullish bias here for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here, this one we did have a similar candle to yesterday here. Price did go up, but then there's a rejection of this resistance. So at this point, if price holds below 0.6735, where it is right into this resistance, if it holds below this support resistance level, then I will look for it to come back down. Price has kind of been trading in this range here, so I will look for it to come back down towards the middle of the range, towards 0.6700, and then potentially into 0.6660. But if it breaks through this level here, we could see it go all the way into 0.6980. So at this point, my bias is neutral here for Aussie dollar. Again, the point or the level that we have to watch will be 0.6735. If it holds below, I'm looking for a drop, but if it goes through, we're looking for a further move to the upside, which is 0.6780. New Zealand dollar here, this one we saw this big move to the upside here after the monetary policy statement here, and price is holding. Now in about 30-40 minutes here, we do have the press conference, which could cause another move to the upside depending on what's said in that. But what I have noticed is these kind of moves tend to get filled, so price can come back down, so watch out for that. In terms of the daily candle here, this would be neutral, but as we have seen, prices moved up because of the central bank here. So right now it is into resistance here, so this is an important support resistance level. What I will look for is if price holds below this 0.6460 level, then it can still come down. But if it goes through, we're looking at 0.6500 as the next target. And again, it will depend on the Reserve Bank of New Zealand press conference, because then the central bank will be asked more questions, and how they respond to it will make a difference in how things go here. So right now, it is bullish, but I would be cautious with New Zealand dollar here, because it tends to fade, the move tends to fade. So just keep an eye on that. Dollar CAD here, this one has dropped. We had talked about this resistance, and we see the price has dropped from here. So bias is bearish right now. 1.3260 is the next target, and then below that we're looking at 1.3220. So bearish bias for dollar CAD. And another thing that we have seen in the market today is there is this risk on mood in the market again. So we have seen the commodity currencies did well. US dollar dropped as a result, and all the dollar crosses have gone up. So just keep an eye on that. If we see more of this risk on mode, then the US dollar is likely to stay low, which means all the dollar crosses are likely to go up, except for dollar CAD, which is likely to drop. So bearish bias 1.3260, then 1.3220. Silver here. Silver has dropped. So we have a bearish candle close here, and next target here is 17.30. So bearish bias for silver. Gold here, gold has dropped as well, but it didn't quite make it through the support level here. But there is bearishness in this candle, so this one could drop further. First target is 1561, and then we're looking at 1545. So bearish bias for gold as well. Oil here, oil still stuck in this range. It went higher but then dropped. Right now, it seems to be just going sideways. Doesn't seem to have a whole lot of direction at the moment. So at this point, it's neutral to bearish here. And in this case, if it holds below 51, then we could see a further drop. If it goes through today's high, basically we're looking at price going all the way to 52.20. It doesn't look overly bullish, but it does look neutral at this point. So bias is neutral, but once it breaks through the support at 49.50, this one could drop further. So keep an eye on that. So right now, bias is neutral for oil. Copper here, copper did move up here. Now it is again into resistance. It hasn't been able to break this resistance it's been tried or tested a number of times. It hasn't been able to break it. So again, if it doesn't break this resistance, we could see it drop and come back down towards 2.53 and potentially towards 2.50. So right now, bias is neutral for copper. Bitcoin has gone up. It wasn't able to really hold below the support here, and it is looking bullish. The next target here is 10,500, and then we're looking at 10,800. So bias is bullish here for Bitcoin. Let's take a look at equity markets now. With S&P 500, we did see that initial move higher in anticipation that Fed will express concerns about the coronavirus, and we're likely to see some sort of guidance on when the next interest rate cut may be. But none of the Fed FOMC members actually talked about cutting rates at this point. Basically, they're going to watch and see how things unfold. If the risks from coronavirus grow, then Fed is likely to act, but till then, they're just holding steady. So at this point, this one looks bearish, but it's right into that high. So it's still holding above this support level at 33.50. And at this point, if it holds above that, this one could still go higher. Now, on the flip side though, it does show a pin bar here. So what I would look for is a retest of the high at 33.75. If it holds below, I will look for a drop towards 3,300. So at this point, this is technically still neutral. It does have that upward momentum still, but we'll have to see if there is a follow through in that, because it could very likely come back down towards 3,300. So neutral bias for S&P 500. Nasdaq here, same thing here. We see that price went up and then it has come back down. So 9,600 is where it turned around. Same thing here. The pin here shows rejection of the higher level. But at this point, again, we have to wait and see, because there's a lot of bullish momentum here. If it holds below 9,600, I will look for a move towards 9,450. And it could even, but if it goes through here, we're looking at 9,700 as the next target. So at this point, it is neutral. We just need to see how price holds. If it holds below 9,600, we are likely to see a turn to the downside here. In that case, the first target is 9,450 and then 9,320 as the two targets, but neutral bias for now. And then we have Dow Jones, same thing here. We have a pin on the top, which shows rejection of this level. So at this point, if price stays below 29,400, chances are we'll see a move back down towards 28,900. But for now, bias is neutral, because should it go through, then it's likely to continue on going higher. So for now, neutral bias. Same thing with DAX here. We see prices right into that resistance level, but it hasn't managed to break above that. The candle close for the day is neutral. So at this point, if it goes through the high here, then there is more room to the upside, and the next target would be 13,800. But if it doesn't go through, I will look for a move down towards the bottom of this range that it's been trading in, 13,420. So at this point, neutral bias for DAX as well. And then FTSE, same thing, prices into resistance. It does show a rejection, but again, if it holds above 75, if it manages to break through, this one could go higher all the way into 7,600 almost. But for now, if it holds below 75.30, then I will look for a move lower into 74.80. So right now, neutral bias here for FTSE as well. And then last but not least, we have Nikkei here. We see that price is still holding in that range. We did see a bullish day here for Nikkei, but for now, it's still holding below that high of 24,000. So if it stays below 24,000, I will look for a move back towards 23,500. So this one is also neutral. So right now, the equity markets are at an interesting point. They are at, especially in the US here, they are at all-time highs. But will there be follow through on that? That we have to see, or things could just turn around and we could see a drop. So it's a wait and see game. And once we have a better idea, then we can go with the trend. But for now, bias is neutral. And that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.